where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is The Brian Snow Show.
Yes, so it is. It most certainly is the Brian Snow Show on this Wednesday. Glad to have y'all with us. And Thursday night, WNBA makes its debut inside of the Snowman Broadcast Center, as I will have the call for the New York Liberty and the Las Vegas Aces at 9:55 Eastern with a 10:05 tip-off from the home of the champions. Speaking of champions, here's one right here. His name is Jason Joseph, and he joins me right now. What up, JJ?
I love that intro, first of all. I just got to say that was really clever, and I love how you just slid that in there. But how's everything going with you, Mr. Snowman?
I'm doing great. I have you on. We're going to talk some broadcast shop. And here's one thing. As play-by-play announcers, and I've been asked this question, and I know you have also, how much preparation do you put into each and every play-by-play call?
I feel like you could never stop preparing. Like, you could literally spend, for baseball at least, you could spend at least a day preparing, like, every single day. And, like, literally use 24 hours, because it really just goes, like, you're not necessarily a glossary, because you can't memorize everything. But the good thing about Major League Baseball and just about professional sports in general is that you have access to so much information. And with what's given to us, social media, ESPN, right? Like Basketball Reference, Baseball Reference, like those types of websites have been very helpful in a lot of ways. But I could also listen to other broadcasters. I could listen to them call games and figure out, information from them, and listen to other interviews. So, I mean, like, the job just never ends. So
it doesn't. And the fun part is, the job never ends. Like you said, the job never ends. That's the fun part about it, because there's always a nugget that you can pick up and use on either the call that you have or the next one. There's always something that you can use.
For sure. And the one thing that I also always use when I prepare, especially for baseball, since we're talking about baseball, I don't use spotting boards per se. I'm not really like a big fan of like the messy desk syndrome, and because I'm covering just like one team, even though they change their opponents all the time, I just feel like that having that spotting board and having to update that can be a little bit like daunting at times. But what I do is I'll print out notes, and I'll literally even go through like what other websites have to say. Like even the betting insight websites now, like they're really toned in on stats, and some of those things are really useful. So what I'll do is I tend to do a lot more reading nowadays, and I also listen. So sometimes if I'm tired of reading and if I have to go for a walk, okay, well, let's listen to a podcast. Let's listen to like what somebody else has to say. And sometimes I'll literally just come on YouTube and I'll see who's live right now talking about the Phillies or talking about Major League Baseball, just to kind of get a fresh sense of somebody else that, is very credible, and somebody that's a source, that's been doing this for a little bit of time. And that also is really helpful. And Twitter, obviously, as well, is another great way to get information out. But I really just try to have a setup where I have my monitor, I have my laptop, I have another external laptop, and maybe like another iPad or so, just so that I have different screens that I can look at. And that way my notes are organized and I can understand what's coming from every single angle. And that takes time. And part of the reason why it does take time is because you have to get the reps, obviously, but also the other thing that's tough about it is that the first time that you do it, there might be some things that you like and some things that you don't like. So you have to learn what is best for yourself. It's not easy.
How long did it take you to get your full rhythm together since the day you started to now? How long did it take you to like really develop your rhythm? And on top of that, do you find times where you're still developing your rhythm?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I do that almost every single day. It's funny that you bring that up because sometimes because it's not a 9 to 5 schedule, sometimes if a game finishes really late, and then if I have a early afternoon game the next day,
Mm-hmm.
some of those nights can be really long
Yeah.
because I don't want to have to do everything in the morning, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even. This is just the preparing side of things. Like this doesn't even go to making the thumbnails. Doesn't even
Mm-hmm.
go to just the whole distribution of where this thing goes. To YouTube and the marketing side of things. This is all just prep,
Yeah.
and prep, let alone, can be a lot of work. But I also do find that some things that I still do have been very beneficial. So
Mm-hmm.
keeping score, like doing it by hand, writing down the lineups. Now I even have like a defensive lineup that I do. And I got like a thing that I ordered, I think it was from Walmart, where I literally will it's supposed to be for the batting order, but I'll literally just have 1 through 9 listed. So that
Yeah.
way, like when I'm just given the defensive lineups, I can just say behind the plate, JT Realmuto, over at
Mm-hmm.
pitcher, Aaron Nola, and that type of thing. And that way I don't have to go hunting. And I'm like, oh, wait, like, where's Bone playing,
Mm-hmm.
in the lineup? So I really just try to keep things organized. And I think that for the most part, I'm starting to get a better handle on what I'm doing. It just takes a lot of time, but there's definitely some things that still constantly change. I'm always looking for news stories. Obviously, the stats change every single day, so you got to
Yeah.
update that.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a new series, that's when it kind of gets a little bit tougher because the players change.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to tend to write down notes, and some things I won't use for every game. But if I
Mm-hmm.
don't use something for one game, maybe I'll use it for the next game.
And it's so key. You mentioned the biggest thing that I'll freely admit I've had problems with until like the last 10 years: organization, being organized, having order. Dad used to tell me all the time, get some order about yourself. He meant that on and off the microphone. Wife echoes the same message. And I had contemplated, changing offices and moving back into my other office where I have a lot more surface area to work with, which I'm going to do after I do a couple of things here because I feel more organized in there. And I said at the top of the show, even having the right chair, because the wave of the future is going to be us sitting here in our homes doing broadcasts. All right, let's just go ahead and put that out there, because if COVID taught us anything, it taught us what the future is going to be. And I had the pleasure of doing UNCG baseball from my home when being comfortable at home. That's the new wave. And when you said that to me, um, on a Phillies broadcast, I beg your pardon. When you said that on a Phillies broadcast out loud, that this is the new wave, and my wife caught that, that's when she sat me down and said, "You can do this from home and make a ton of money doing it while you're promoting your shows." You guys are right. Why risk being uncomfortable? And I love being out at the stadium. Don't get it twisted. I love being out at the arena. But COVID decided to knock a little sense into us and knock us upside the head and say, "Look, you got something in front of you. Use it. This is the time for us to use it, brother."
It's also funny that you bring that up because one thing that I've been doing now too is I've been cutting highlights and posting them as
Yep.
YouTube shorts, and I've been posting them on TikTok. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody actually commented last night on one of my calls, actually it was a couple of days ago, saying that, don't be afraid if like, what did he specifically say? He said, that Major League Baseball could sue you like for what you're doing. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how would that necessarily be the case? Because first of all, I'm not showing any footage. I'm not like, I'm not playing any sort of audio clips or anything. This is
Right.
just strictly my audio, and what
Mm-hmm.
I'm showing is just my virtual screen. Am I
Yeah.
using like a third party to like watch the game? Yes, but I'm not. I'm not duplicating any calls that announcers are making. I'm not using any sort of stadium music or sound effects, and I'm not showing the game. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, it's technically fair use. And but I
It
bring
is.
that up because it kind of like made me think to myself, well, that's kind of a little bit scary. But then I thought, if this is how it's going to be, it technically is fair use. And so, you are going to have people that are out there that are going to debate whether or not it is fair use. But then it goes into the whole conversation of, is sports talk on YouTube, fair use and that type of thing. I don't know if I should. I don't want to open up that can of worms, but I just think that it's so funny that you bring that whole thing up, because I really do feel like that major networks are going to start trying to implement this a little bit more. And even if we're not at home, and if we do go to the stadium, just by interacting with audience members and not always having color commentators, it'll save them money.
Yeah.
And, for organizations that want to do that, it's an alternate route. And you and I want to show them that this can work.
For those of you listening on WLEO 26.7 in Baltimore, as well as SM Sports around the country, that's Jason Joseph. Play-by-Play with JJ is his YouTube channel, just crossed 600 subscribers. Congratulations to you. What gave you the idea? And let me say what's up to Chad Schrader, who's in the chat with us. What gave you the idea to launch your YouTube channel?
These headphones. For those of you that can't see, obviously, the headphones really just gave me the idea, because I graduated from Rowan University, and I called games for not just Rowan in general, but I also had an internship with the Wilmington Blue Rocks, who were the high A affiliate of the Washington Nationals. Right. And I also had an internship with the Delaware Blue Coats, who were the NBA G League affiliate of the Philadelphia 76ers. And I did stuff behind the scenes. I produced for our radio station because we had partnerships with both of those teams. And I also did radio play-by-play. And the more times I did it, the more comfortable I got. But as soon as the season ended, and as soon as I graduated, I said to myself that, I can get an internship at NFL Films, and NFL Films was awesome. But by about the third month, I was like, this is great. Don't get me wrong. And obviously I love being at NFL Films, but something's missing, and it's putting these headphones on. So I then first started to reach out to people, reached out to agencies, reached out to all different minor league teams, NBA G League teams, and colleges, and people that I met from networking. And I kid you not, for about 4 weeks, I sent about at least 50 emails a week, and I'm still hearing back from some people, which is really crazy. But I was like thinking to myself at the time, it was like 5 weeks into this, I was thinking that, reaching out to people is nice, but what do you have to prove to yourself? And so, like, I could have taken an internship or a job out in Oklahoma, but forget about the culture shock, forget about, being away from home and living, potentially, I wouldn't say like living in my car, but like that type of thing, like where you have to be cautious about money. I said, forget about all of that. Jason, how many games have you really done a week? And if they want you to do 2 games a day plus 4 hours of just talking on the radio, you don't have that stamina yet. You got to build that up. So, and Scott Fransky's words also really stood out to me too when I met him at a networking event. Scott Fransky, the radio play-by-play announcer for the Philadelphia Phillies. And so it was just a combination of all those things. And I just thought, I can just call games on here and just practice doing play-by-play and do it in front of an audience and just see where it takes you. Because if you want to do this every day, you have to put in the work. And I'm not driving, to high schools. I'm literally doing this from my own home. And there's pros and cons of both. But
of course,
the best thing is that I am getting reps. And even though I don't have a color commentator, I think I'm making it work. And
you do fabulous, man. I mean, I
thank you.
love listening to you. I love
Thank you.
hearing your calls and watching you progress. And um, I reached out to you. You know what people don't understand. If you really want to progress in this, you got to be bold. And I was bold enough to reach out to you and say, "Hey, how'd you put that setup together?" And you and I have been like this ever since, man.
It's so funny because the fact that you found me means that I'm doing my job, because all the marketing, like all the hashtags and all of the extra work I was putting in,
Mm-hmm.
it pays off because people start to pick that up. So when people are searching for different things, I also think that it was also just the timing of it too was perfect as well.
Right.
But I definitely do believe that my hard work, like as soon as I met you and as soon as I met Larry and all these other people that have continued to come onto these streams,
Mm-hmm.
it's just been an incredible way to network with people. And I've learned that networking on here is really such a powerful way of growing not just your audience, but your brand, and help out other people grow their brand too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been incredible from that aspect. And I'm just really happy of what I've been able to build with the family so far at Play by Play with JJ. But I want to continue to let it grow, and I just want to continue to build a family, and I want to help other people, especially like you, people that have really helped me in so many ways, build up their families too. I know that this is actually a little bit off topic, but I do have to tell you that the one thing that I'm always looking for as a broadcaster, as an entrepreneur, as somebody that is just willing to get better, I'm
Mm-hmm.
always looking for ways to improve. And I
Yeah.
have to tell you that, the terminology stuff, it's definitely been something that has been very, very beneficial. And so, I was really proud that you came on the other day and was like, try saying kicks and deals more often, because in your head, like in the moment, you think that you're saying it a lot, but
Yes.
you can't hear yourself.
Right.
So, and the fact that you said that made me feel really, really happy, because that's the type of feedback that I need, and that's the only thing that I don't always like about being on here, is that some people are a little bit afraid to give you some sort of constructive criticism because they think that you're going to take it personally. I'm always
Right.
looking to get better, and
Same
I
here.
even came up with a list of different ways of saying different types of terms. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, instead of saying the pitch, I have kick steals or fires away. Uh, you know, throws it in motion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like winds up, and different types of ways of saying a high pitch, climbs the ladder. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to start implementing those things more, because you have to learn how to vary your terms. But in order for you to do that, you got to get the reps.
Absolutely. And since my surgery, I mean, I had a couple reps with UNCG, but it hasn't been consistent. But well, thanks to a late night blessing that I got from a friend of mine, MLB TVs is in the works for me. And I'm so excited to be doing more.
Yeah.
And I'll say it again, besides you and the play by play with JJ family, because every time I come in, the folks are greeting me and I absolutely adore it. My biggest support has been my family. My biggest supporter of all has been Jody, my wife,
He's awesome.
because, like I said, she sat me down and said, "Do you know how much fun you can do this and you'd be comfortable at home? So, in case something happens, like with your belly, because I still have belly problems from my surgery, you can take a break, run to the restroom, and come back. You can't do that at the ballpark." And she's right. And I'm going, I can do this. And then I see you doing it and I see others doing it. And I'm like, wait a minute, who says this old veteran can't pick up a couple of new tricks and use it in my business, and me being an entrepreneur and building Snowman Multimedia and everything? Who says you can't have fun doing this? I gotta let you go because we're up against the break. But what time are you on tonight?
8:05, first pitch. Clock
I
will
will
start
be
at 7:50.
I will be there. You will have me for about an hour because
Yep.
after I change offices, I'm going to get everything ready for my
So
first pitch at
excited.
9:40 with the Yankees and the Athletics, and I'm going to start doing more White Sox baseball in the very near future and following your pattern. I love you, brother, so much. You've taught me, a 28-year veteran, you've taught me so much about not being afraid to do it differently. And it's something my father emphasized. It's something my wife emphasizes, because I still hear my dad's voice, even though he passed away some time ago. I hear his voice. I hear my wife saying it to me, don't be afraid to be different. And that's the biggest thing that you taught me. I love you for that. I love your calls. I love coming on to your channel. You'll have me at 8:05 tonight before I go on the air. I appreciate you, brother, so much.
I love you too. And thank you for also just inspiring me and giving me some amazing words. You've definitely been such an incredible supporter and has, not just a colleague or not just somebody that's on here, but a very great friend and a very great family member.
For those of you who don't know, Jason reached out to me and said, I need to talk. So there were some feelings that I know I felt in my early years of broadcasting that he let loose. And I just kept smiling because I'm like, been there, done that. I can teach this young man and any other broadcaster, male or female, who reaches out to me going forward. Let me get to a break. Thank you, Jason. I love you, brother. I'll see you at 8:05.
All right.
Jason Joseph joining me here. Pause for 3 minutes. And when we come back, hour 2 of the Brian Snow Show after this.